So hello everyone, we are starting a new course today which is Next.js. So we'll be learning about Next.js in this series. What is Next.js and why should we use it? Let's start the lesson. So what is Next.js? Actually Next.js is a React based framework with server-side rendering capability, and also it has static site generation and incremental static generation. There are other features of Next.js. We'll be discussing it in the detail. So it is very fast and SEO friendly. That's why we mainly use Next.js for sites which requires a very good SEO, and it is very fast, faster than React. Then uh, React is a normal JavaScript library, but it gives some superpowers to React. So when we have some additional functionality added to React, which is like many capabilities we'll be discussing, so then we get Next.js. So using Next.js, you can create a robust React-based application. React, like Next.js works with React. React is very essential feature in this, but it has some additional functionality or efficient features which React or the plain React doesn't have. So Next.js solves some of the problems which React cannot solve. That's why you can say Next.js is an upper version of React. Features of Next.js. So these are some features which we'll be discussing, so that you can learn these features and you can make your mind to learn Next.js as well. So the first feature it provides is hot code reload, which means Next.js server detects and automatically changes the renders the files if any modification happens in the files. So for example, you change something in your file, you do not have to refresh your code in the browser. uh, Next.js will take care of that, so it will automatically reload that. So that is one feature, hot code reload. So the other feature is automatic routing. In React, we use basically React router to apply the routing, and that is a very, you can say, additional package we need to add in React to apply the routing feature. That's why in Next.js they have decided to use file-based routing system. So you don't need any package for routing. Next.js built-in supports that, and you just need to place the your JSX files or JavaScript files into the pages folder. There is a pages folder we'll be discussing in the uh, folder structure video. So Next.js by default solves that. So you just need to add your whatever the page you want to show. You just need to add that into the pages folder. That automatically we route it. We can also modify some of the things in that in the routing part, but that we'll be discussing in the Next.js routing. So you do not have any additional package for routing. Next.js built-in supports file routing system. And the other feature is it provides its component specific styles. In React, we have module CSS that is specific to one component. Like whenever you want a CSS only for that component, sometimes we need like in global CSS we are confused. In normal CSS pages, when you attach that in external CSS pages, we are confused to add the class names. For solving that class name issue, uh, we have component specific styles. So that is only for that specific component. We can also use it by using module CSS or CSS modules. Uh, that component specific styles are built and supported in Next.js. We don't need any configuration and other thing, that is built and supported in Next.js. So that is one feature. You can specify the CSS for only that component, so you don't have to worry about the class names, or the same class name you can use for different component specific style sheets, so you can reuse them. The other big feature is server-side rendering. That is the big feature or the biggest feature it provides Next.js. That's why people use it. Server-side rendering is kind of a rendering, you can say, in which the data is pre-fetched or pre-rendered on server, and then it's sent to the data or to the browser. Send the data to the browser. It becomes very faster. It looks very faster to the client. So in normally what happens is you just have only one div element. Inside that we are just injecting our JavaScript by calling the data. So for the for solving that becomes very hard or very slow, you can see that. So we use server side rendering to prefetch the data which is needed from API. So it is automatically prefetched at the build time and served to the client very fastly, or you can say very quickly. So you don't have to make the request on the time of when the client is viewing your site. So whenever you need any data, you make that is client side rendering. We'll be discussing the difference between server side rendering and client side rendering in the detail, but for just now, understand server side rendering as it prefetch the data and sends keep that until the user requests for that, and it doesn't go to the server directly. It just have fetched the data already, so it gives very fastly. So you can give the data which is prefetched or very fastly to the client. You do not have to make request when your user is visiting your site. So that is one feature of server side rendering. The other feature is node ecosystem. We can also use node ecosystem in Next.js, just like other libraries. You can also use npm packages and other features of node. So that is one feature. Also, you can implement Node.js code in Next.js, you can create your server and other thing. You can make API calls. So in Next.js that is supported. Other one is automatic code split. It means Next.js has automatically decided your JavaScript files which has multiple you use multiple JavaScript files, so it will automatically split your code and bundle them into one. So that is the feature of Next.js, automatic code splitting. You don't have to worry about that. That is also in create React app also. So it is saying Next.js renders pages with libraries they need. Next.js, instead of creating a single large JavaScript file, it creates multiple resources. When a page is loaded, only required JavaScript page is loaded with it. So it doesn't create a large file. It just creates some small resources and serves that. That is the feature of code splitting. It splits the code into multiple chunks and serves the user or the client. Prefetch, I've already explained you that what is prefetch. It is also used in the link component. Whenever you have any link anywhere on your page, it will prefetch your page which is there already, and then it will serve the page very faster. So by using link component you can do that. It will prefetch your web page and it will serve the user very fastly. Dynamic components are like you can import JavaScript modules or the packages which you install. You can also import that or use that inside Next.js. Also, it has a static site generation support. Next.js also supports that. So you can export your normal Next.js application into static files like HTML, CSS, as you see that. So you can also do that with it. So the other one is built-in TypeScript support. As you know, TypeScript is very good in development, so it provides strict rules for the JavaScript, and it is very efficient. So that's why Next.js also supports that, and it is saying Next.js is written in TypeScript, so you have excellent TypeScript support. So you don't have to worry about TypeScript, and manually you do not have to configure that. You can write TypeScript code also in Next.js without any external library or any package. So these are some features of Next.js. I hope you understand something. Let's move next, which is prerequisites. What you need to actually know before learning Next.js. So I recommend you should have JavaScript knowledge, a little bit JavaScript knowledge, like what are functions, classes, what are for loops and arrays. These kind of basic understanding of JavaScript should be there. The other feature you should have is React.js. React.js is a must in this because Next.js is nothing but a React.js framework. So you have to know this React.js. So if you're not familiar with React, I will recommend you to understand React first and then jump to the Next.js. So that will be good for you, and you will understand most of the things in Next.js because some of the things are changed in Next.js. You will find it very familiar if you know React.js. So the development is kind of similar, but some of the things we change in this. So this is the lesson 1 in which we talked about Next.js a little bit, and let's meet in the another session and we'll be discussing the development and how can we start the development in Next.js. So let's meet in another one. Thank you for watching the video.